So today I want to talk about something that honestly hits way deeper than business, way deeper than collision repair, and way deeper than success metrics. We're talking about potential. We're talking about self-belief. And we're talking about the tragedy of living a smaller life than we were actually created for. Now I want you to think about something for a second. How many people do you know that are incredibly talented, incredibly capable, hardworking, smart, experienced, but somehow they're still playing small? Over time, people stop dreaming. They stop expanding. They stop believing. Not because they don't have the ability, but because somewhere along the line, they accepted limitations that were never actually true. And in this industry, the collision industry, I see this constantly.
Mind race whispers truth so clear. Tits that drive away the fear. Rib race voice cuts through the noise.
Welcome to the Mind Wrench Podcast with your host, Rick Sellover, where minor adjustments produce major improvements in mindset, personal growth, and success. This is the place to be every Monday, where we make small improvements and take positive actions in our business and personal lives that will make a major impact in our success, next level growth, and quality of life.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mind Wrench Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Sellover. Thanks so much for stopping in. If you're a returning listener and haven't done so already, please take a minute and click the follow or subscribe button and then rate and review the show. When you rate and review the show, the algorithms for Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and all the other platforms will see that it's valuable and show it to more people that have never seen it before. And hopefully it can help them too. I would really appreciate your help sharing this word with your friends and family as well. And if you're a brand new listener, welcome. I hope you find something of value here that helps you in your personal or professional life as well. Please make sure to click the subscribe or follow button so you never miss another episode. If you've been listening to the show for a while, or been on the receiving end of my daily quote of the day emails, or maybe just catch my posts on Facebook or LinkedIn, you know I'm all about the quotes, right? If you'd like to start receiving my quote of the day emails, there's a link in the show notes to sign up. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. So today I want to talk about something that honestly hits way deeper than business, way deeper than collision repair, and way deeper than success metrics. We're talking about potential. We're talking about self-belief. And we're talking about the tragedy of living a smaller life than we were actually created for. Now I want you to think about something for a second. How many people do you know that are incredibly talented, incredibly capable, hardworking, smart, experienced, but somehow they're still playing small? Maybe they've convinced themselves, this is just how life is. This is as far as I can go. I'm not the type of person that can build something bigger. I'm too old. I missed my chance. I'm just a technician. I'm just a manager. I'm just a shop owner. You know what I'm saying, right? When that happens, over time, people stop dreaming. They stop expanding. They stop believing. Not because they don't have the ability, but because somewhere along the line, they accepted limitations that were never actually true. And in this industry, the collision industry, I see this constantly. I see shop owners with unbelievable leadership potential who still operate from fear every single day. I see technicians with incredible skill sets who will never believe that they can become mentors, leaders, trainers, or business owners. I see people settling for burnout, chaos, poor communication, unhealthy relationships, financial stress, and mediocre lives just because they've unknowingly accepted the belief that this is just the way it is. This is all I'm capable of. But what if it's not? What if the biggest thing standing between where you are now and where you could go is simply what you believe is possible for yourself? This is why today's episode matters. I recently listened to a message from Les Brown that absolutely stopped me in my tracks. The core idea was this: the wealthiest place on earth is the graveyard. Because buried there are dreams that were never pursued, businesses that never started, books never written, ideas never shared, talents never developed, conversations never had, and lives never fully lived. And man, that'll hit you right in the soul if you really sit with it for a minute. Because most people don't fail because they lack talent. Most people fail because they stop believing in themselves long before they ever discover what they're capable of. And honestly, one of the saddest tragedies imaginable. You know, in this industry especially, we become very conditioned by survival. We focus on production numbers, cycle time, insurance pressure, staffing issues, customer issues, cash flow, parts delay. And after enough years of grinding, a lot of people stop asking, what could my life become? Instead, they start asking, how do I just survive another week, another month, another year? And listen, I get it. Business is hard. Leadership is hard. Marriage is hard. Parenting is hard. Personal growth is hard. But difficult doesn't mean impossible. And one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a human being is slowly lowering their expectations for their own life. Because once you stop believing expansion is possible, you unconsciously build your identity around limitation. You start defending the very walls that are keeping you trapped. You'll hear people say, good employees don't exist anymore. You can't grow a shop in this economy. You can't trust people. Marriage just gets harder and harder. Everybody burns out eventually. And what's wild is people eventually create enough evidence to support the beliefs they've already accepted. That's the power of mindset. If you believe that growth is impossible, you'll stop looking for opportunity. If you believe you're not leadership material, you'll stop developing leadership skills. If you believe you're destined for stress and struggle forever, your brain literally filters life through that lens. Meanwhile, someone else with the same obstacles, same market conditions, same setbacks, same talents and skills, same industry challenges, decides, no, I'm going to build something better. And guess what? They do. Not because they're magical, not because they're lucky, but because they believed possibility existed long enough to pursue it relentlessly. That's the difference. You know what I've noticed after talking to so many successful people on this podcast? That most successful people are rarely the most gifted naturally. Not even close, really. But they almost always have the willingness to think bigger than the average person. They believe they can learn. They believe they can adapt. They believe they can grow. They believe failure isn't final. They believe discomfort is temporary. And most importantly, they believe their future does not have to resemble their past. That right there changes everything. Because too many people become prisoners of previous experiences. Maybe you tried to grow before and failed miserably. Maybe you trusted somebody, got betrayed. Maybe you opened a second location and struggled. Maybe your childhood convinced you that success was for quote-unquote other people. Maybe somebody told you you'd never amount to much. Instead of using pain as fuel, people start using it as identity. The truth is, your past is only information. It's not destiny. And if you don't challenge the internal story you've accepted about yourself, you'll unknowingly spend years building a life underneath your actual potential. And that's what Les Brown's message really exposes. Tragedy isn't failure. The tragedy is never truly accepting the life that you are capable of living. And honestly, when I heard this message from Les Brown, it stopped me cold. Because it forces one to really confront an uncomfortable question. What are you leaving inside of you because you're convinced yourself it's not possible? And I want you to really listen to this next part, not just as a shop owner, technician, manager, spouse, or parent, but just as a human. Because I think a lot of us have spent years operating beneath our actual potential without even realizing it. If you're running a collision shop, whether second generation, third generation, or original owner, grinding every day, putting out fires, chasing KPIs, working in rather than on the business, and wondering why progress still feels slower than it should, let's take a little pause right here. As a longtime industry supplier, performance coach, and host of this podcast, I've worked inside this industry for over 4 decades, and I've learned a few things the hard way. Tools and tactics absolutely matter, but mindset drives everything. How you think shapes how you lead, how you hire, how you grow, and how you show up when things get messy. That's where one-on-one coaching makes the difference. You get focused conversations, real accountability, and guidance tailored to you and your shop, not generic cookie-cutter advice. The collision repair business has changed dramatically in the last few years. The technology, the tools, the equipment needed to repair today's new vehicles. Customer expectations have varied by generation. OEM certifications and repair procedures. ADAS calibrations, electric vehicles, and the ever-growing national technician shortage, it's a lot, isn't it? It can be absolutely overwhelming and very challenging on where to focus first, right? If only I had someone who could help me find clarity in all the chaos. If only there was someone that could help guide me through the changes I need to make so I could create a successful business and increase my net revenue. If only I had a coach that could help me without getting in my way or trying to run my business for me or costing me a fortune. This is where I can help. The goal is simple. Help you make consistent improvements, build sustainable culture, gain better profitability, and shave years off the learning curve. If you're open to adjusting how you think and how you lead, book a free 15-minute discovery call with me right now. No sales pitch, no blue sky promises, just an honest conversation to see if it's a fit. You have absolutely nothing to lose, but everything to gain. Secure a spot now.
Let me share with you the most difficult thing I've ever done. The most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe that I can do what I'm now doing. No one could have convinced me, just given my circumstances. I earn millions of dollars every year. No one could have convinced me. If both my parents came up here right now, I would not know either one. No one could have convinced me, being labeled educable, mental retarded, born in an abandoned building on the floor in Liberty City, poor section of Miami, Florida, failing twice in school, no college training, never worked for a major corporation. I did not know I can do what I'm doing right now. I'll never forget Mike Williams, my mentor. I think a lot of people fail in life because of the fact that they need some mentoring. They need some coaching. Repeat out to me, please. You need some coaching. Yeah, see, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. I remember Mike saying, Les, you can do this. Mike, Mike, how, man? Wait a minute, Mike. How much am I going to be able to charge, Mike? Les, you could start out at $1,000 an hour. Mike, I don't make that working for 2 weeks. Come on, Mike. Man, I appreciate your belief in me, Mike. Look, Mike, I work for the Miami Sanitation Department, man. I've been a garbage collector. I've done door-to-door sales. That was great. And, I'm here as a disc jockey. That's good, Mike. But, Mike, I don't think I can do that, Les. You can. But, Mike, I don't have any credentials. I've never written any book, anything. Man, I'm not rich. How can I teach somebody to do something I've never done? But, Les, why don't you just test yourself? Why don't you stretch, Les? Come on, man. Mike, I don't know. And here's something I realized. Write this down. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. I respect Mike Williams. Here, this young man, he saw something in me that I didn't see it, and strong analytical mind. And I looked at him. I always respected his thinking. And he looked at me and he made me feel special. And I said, okay, Mike. And I just kept holding on to what Mike said to me. I just kept holding on to what Mr. Washington said to me. I kept holding on to my mother saying, you're special, Leslie, when they said you're educable, mentally retarded. Mama didn't know what that meant. She only had a 3rd grade education. So she said, he'll be all right, or the hard head make a soft behind. He'll be fine. But she said, you're special, baby. You are special. And they kept saying that over and over again. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And so here's what I want you to do. Let us say together, as you think about your goals and your dream, let us say together, it's possible. Together, please. It's possible. Say it like you mean it. Thank you. Write that down. See, most people never achieve their goals because most people suffer from possibility blindness. They look around trying to think about the things that they don't have. Robert Roots, young man who wrote a book about success principles of the 3 little pigs. He said, it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need that keeps you from being successful or happy in life. It's not what you don't have. See, I was focused on what I didn't have. Don't have a college degree, don't have any credentials, never worked for a major corporation. I was focused on the negative things and said, negative things are the things that you see when you're not focused on your goal. What do you come with? What is it that you have within you that you showed up to bring? Hey, Les, you don't know, but my dream is a long shot. A friend of mine, Dexter Yeager, said, when the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. I'm reminded of a great man. When I was reading Time magazine talking about some of the great minds of the last century, they didn't mention his name, Dr. Howard Thurman, one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and also an advisor to Mahatma Gandhi and Albert Schweitzer. And he said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members standing around their bed praying with them as they cross over. But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the dreams given to you by life, the ideas that you never acted on, the talents, the gifts, the abilities that you never used. And there they are, standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died this very moment, what will die with you? What dreams? What ideas? What talents? What leadership potential? What greatness that you showed up to bring? That you allowed fear or procrastination to hold you back? Perhaps that's why Henry David Thoreau wrote the words, oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential. Repeat after me, please, with power, feeling, and conviction. I refuse to die an unlived life. Yes, shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, live your dream. Yeah, I think we should all resolve. I refuse to die an unlived life. Don't worry about the odds. You survived 1 out of 40 million sperms. You will never have those odds again. You beat those odds, you can win anything.
Man, let that soak in, huh? At the end of our lives, I don't think most people are going to regret taking bold action and failing. I think they'll regret staying safe, playing small, waiting too long, living cautiously, suppressing dreams, ignoring purpose. And this applies just as much personally as it does professionally. Because success without fulfillment still leaves people feeling empty. I know people with money who are miserable. I know shop owners with multiple locations who barely know their kids. I know leaders who built profitable businesses but destroyed their health and their relationships in the process. That's not really maxing out life either. Real success is alignment. It's becoming the best version of yourself across the board. As a leader, as a spouse, as a parent, as a business owner, as a human. And here's the truth most people avoid. Growth requires identity expansion. You can't create a bigger life while maintaining a smaller mindset. It's impossible. At some point, you have to emotionally accept that you are capable of more. More leadership, more discipline, more confidence, more impact, more peace, more income, more purpose. And not because of ego, not because you're better than anybody else, but because you were never designed to spend your life shrinking yourself. And I think a lot of people listening right now know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? There's something inside you that's been nudging you for years. Maybe it's starting the business, or hiring the coach, or repairing the relationship, or taking care of your health, or training future leaders, speaking publicly, growing your shop, changing your environment, finally betting on yourself. But fear keeps negotiating you back into the comfort zone. And the comfort zone is sneaky because it doesn't feel dangerous. But long-term, comfort destroys possibilities. And you know what's uncomfortable? Growth, risk, vulnerability, accountability, leadership, discipline. But you know what's even more uncomfortable? Regret. And regret lasts their whole lifetime. One of the things I love about this industry is that collision repair is full of resilient people. Most people in this business know how to work hard, they know how to solve problems, and they know how to fight through adversity. But sometimes the same toughness that helps people survive physically also causes them to emotionally shut down possibility. They become so focused on surviving the grind that they stop imagining what life could actually become. And I think today is a reminder that there's still more in you. More creativity, more leadership, more vision, more purpose. And the question is, do you believe it? Because belief drives behavior. A behavior repeated over time creates results. You don't accidentally create a great life. You create it intentionally. You create it by challenging limiting beliefs, by taking uncomfortable action, by expanding your environment, by learning continuously, by surrounding yourself with growth-minded people, by refusing to let fear make decisions for your future. And listen, this isn't just a bunch of motivational fluff and buff, okay? This is practical. The shop owner who believes expansion is possible starts learning leadership and financial systems. A technician who believes he or she can become more starts developing more communication and management skills. A struggling person who believes healing is possible finally will ask for help. Everything changes once possibility enters the picture. So let me ask you something today. What would you attempt if you truly believed there were no limits to you? Not imaginary fantasy, but real possibility. What conversations would you have? What risks would you take? What version of yourself would you become? And what impact could you create in your family, your business, your team, and your community? Because deep down, I think most people already know that answer. They've just spent years talking themselves out of it. And maybe today is the day you stop doing that. Maybe today is the day you stop shrinking your life to match your fears. Maybe today is the day you finally decide, I'm capable of more. Not overnight, not perfectly, but intentionally. And that decision alone can completely alter the trajectory of your life. So here's my challenge for you this week. Take 15 quiet minutes by yourself and ask one hard question. What would I pursue if I truly believed I could succeed? And write down every answer without filtering it. Then just pick one thing, one little thing, take action on it immediately. Send that email, make that phone call, start that plan, join the gym, have the conversation, apply for the opportunity, invest in yourself. Whatever it is, just pick one thing and do it immediately. Because the life you want is usually hiding on the other side of the fear you keep avoiding. And don't let your greatest potential become part of an unlived life, okay? Thanks for tuning in today. If this episode hits home for you, share it with somebody in the industry who needs this reminder right now. And as always, keep learning, keep growing, and keep challenging yourself to become the best version of who you were created to be. Well, that's all I had for you today. Thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate your support, and I hope you have a great week. I can always be reached at www.ricksolover.com, where you can find all my social media links, podcast episodes, blog posts, and much more.
Mind race